Hey guys, my name is Tim and I am the Long Hair Gardener. If this is your first time joining my channel, welcome. I have a backyard garden here in downtown Philadelphia. My channel focuses mostly on my garden, but I also do some walking garden tours of other neighborhoods here in the city. So today I'm going to focus on the first garden tour of my garden of the year. So everything is finally planted and it is time to show you what I planted this year. So my garden is a combination of, it's probably about 50-50 of planters, and then I do have some space where I plant directly into the ground. I try to plan out my garden every year. When it comes to the containers, which you can probably see behind me here, I do the thriller, filler, and spiller approach, which is pretty standard. This is not something that I created. So if you're not familiar with it, the thriller plant is usually the center plant or the plant that's in the back of the pot. It's always the tallest. And then the filler plants go around that plant. They kind of fill in around the tall plant and fill in empty spaces in your planter. And then the spiller is the trailing plant, which is going to spill out over the edge of your pot. So that is the method or formula I use when planting my pots, and I try to use a similar approach when planting in the ground. When designing this garden, I also try to tie in some of the same plants in different parts of the garden. So in this garden, I achieved that uniformity or repetition of plants. There are tons of plants that I want to buy every year, and I do buy a large variety, but I try to create some uniformity by repeating some of the same plants in the different areas of my garden. So some of the plants that I chose this year to create that uniformity are lantanas, licorice plant, which is this guy right here behind me. I also do it with cannas and a few elephant ears as well. Oh, and Dichondra Silver Falls is probably the big repeater in this garden. When it comes to the shade portion of the garden, I use impatiens to link or bridge different parts of the shade garden together. I also tend to like plants, I'm going to call them Halloween plants, meaning I like oranges, I like purples, blacks, maybe some reds, and definitely some chartreuse colors and some silvery colors. So Halloween is my favorite holiday, so I kind of bring those colors and that energy into my garden. So you're gonna notice that as we're walking around here. So enough talking, let's walk around and see which plants I decided to plant in my garden this year. Alright, so we'll start right here with this really tall planter. So like I was saying a minute ago with the thriller, the filler, and the spiller. So the thriller, and I'm not going to do this with every planter, but I'm just going to demonstrate here in this particular one. You'll see in the other planters what I'm talking about. So the thriller in this particular planter is this Tropicana canna lily, and off to the side here there is a smaller canna, which is a Tropicana gold. It's just has more yellowy or chartreuse colors in it. So this is going to be the tallest plant. I also have in front of that a rockin' deep purple salvia. So this particular salvia gets pretty big, so this one could also potentially be a thriller, but the cannas just get so big, I thought it would be okay to have another really tall plant in here, and it's kind of in the center of the planter. Moving on to the fillers, I do have a penta over here. So this is part of the graffiti mix. It's just like the general or particular group that this particular Penta is from. And I also have a Rose Glow Lantana here. It is blooming. I did kind of come back in here and pinch it back so it's not as full as it could be right now. And talking about the spiller in this planter, I do have this Plectranthus, which is the guacamole variety. Let me just pick off some of these purple flowers. And I did put a Dichondra Silver Falls in here as well, which is also going to spill out and hopefully trail down here in front of this planter. So I'm very happy with this. I think I've had these plants in the ground maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and they're really starting to fill in nicely. Stepping back here, I do have a pineapple plant, which I grew from a pineapple from the grocery store. It's looking a little rough right now. I don't know if there's a water issue or too much sun, but this plant is 3 years old, so maybe it's just getting too old, I'm not sure. I do have some more Dichondra Silver Falls down here. So this is the plant that I'm talking about, that's going to be repeated and help unify the garden so that I don't have too many crazy plants in here. I need some kind of uniformity, so I chose the Silver Falls to do that. I do have just some basil here, and right next door we have an asparagus fern. There is a boxwood with some creeping jenny around the bottom. And right next door we have some zinnias that I'm growing from seed. And right above the zinnias I do have my window box section. So right here in the center is a gazania. It gets a kind of a daisy-like flower with a beautiful orangish red colors. And then on either side of the gazania I have this black petunia. This is the blackest plant I've ever seen, and I think this is my favorite combination this year. I really love what's going on right here with these colors. In the upper tier of the window box I have a peachy keen verbena, which is this guy right here, and then also a helichrysum or white licorice plant. And because this is in front of my window and I have bars on my window, I have a hyacinth bean vine, purple hyacinth bean vine, that's going to climb up this window and also this trellis that I have here, and get beautiful purple flowers on it. So this I think is going to be my favorite combination this year. Alright, over on the wall I do have some window boxes, which obviously are not in windows, but I have this ledge here where I like to put trailing plants. This area gets incredibly hot, so I have to have some really heat resistant plants up here. I do have more Dichondra Silver Falls, and then I have, this is another plant that's being repeated here. Both of these plants are being repeated. I have the lantana. This particular one is called Mango. I have a sweet potato vine here in the middle. I also have on either side, which you can't see them yet because they haven't started to grow, are some nasturtiums. And then right over here is just a repeat again of the Mango, Lantana, and the Dichondra Silver Falls. And I also have in these small little pots some Sempervitum or chicks and hens, because they are down here. I just planted up this bowl this year, and I'm really happy with it. Definitely recommend making a Sempervitum bowl. So right beside the sempervitums, I have this nice little cluster of pots. I did not mention, but all of these plants that I have been showing you are in the sun. So this is considered a full sun area. So we'll start over here. I just have another lantana. I believe this one is just simply called Pink, and it is doing quite well. It's very happy over here. I have a whirlwind scaevola. This is the first year I'm growing this plant, and so far I think it's very beautiful and I'm very happy with it. I have another Silver Falls down here, and this is a pineapple, purple pineapple flower or lily. I'll have to look that up, but that's what's coming here. And then in the back I do have an upright elephant ear or Colocasia coming in. Right down below we have a eucalyptus plant, which smells amazing. I can't wait to trim these back and dry them inside once they get a little bit bigger. Down here in this pot is an asparagus fern. It's a little slow growing, but it is starting to come. And then I also have in the same pot a creeping wire vine. Moving on over to the big pot. So we do have some repeaters. Of course, the licorice vine, the scaevola, and this is the penta. Same penta that was in the other planter. So the only difference is this cleome, which is Senorita Rosalita. And we also have this calla lily here, which currently has 3 flowers. And then tucked in the back we have some more cannas, so Tropicana and Tropicana Gold. Beside this little cluster right here, I do have a mangave and some more Decandra Silver Falls. Right beside that there is a coneflower or echinacea plant. There is another one right over here, and it's just starting to bloom. Alright, stepping out of the pots now and focusing on what I have in the ground. Over here I have this huge red Abyssinian banana tree, which I wintered over from last year, and it is looking quite stunning. I'm excited to see how big that gets this year. Around the base, so the flowers that are around the banana tree and then over here are the same. Actually, let's step over here. Got some more room to see what's going on. So down here we'll just start with the front. So this same setup is similar, where I have a thriller, a filler, and a spiller, even though it's not in a pot. So down here in the front, these would be considered the spillers. I have a sweet potato vine. This one is Black Heart, and this one is just simply called Red sweet potato vine. And then I also have a Tridescantia pallida here. So all 3 of these will hopefully spill over into the cement area, which will look great. I also decided this year to grow some marigolds. So this particular kind is called Strawberry Blonde. So you can see I have a little zigzag of them here. And then I also have a little zigzag of salvia that is from the Vista mix. Behind the salvia are just some Suncoleus, which circle the cannas, so hopefully those will fill in nicely. They're a little short right now because I did grow those from cuttings that I had overwintered inside. And of course there is another repeat of the cannas. This particular one is blooming and is gorgeous. Stepping around here, So there are some things that aren't currently in bloom, so I'm just going to skip over those for right now. But you can see the same pattern or repeat of plants over here on this side. But I do want to just stop and pause quickly on my dahlia. So this is the first bloom of the year. I call this my black dahlia, although it is looking a little redder than normal, to be honest. Sometimes when it blooms it is very black, so hopefully some of the other ones will be a little bit darker, because that is just my preference. Moving along here, sorry, the sun has decided to come out. I do have, of course you can see I have tons of hostas in the background here. This area, although not very convincing at the moment, is predominantly shade back here. It does get a little, as you can see, afternoon sun. One great thing about this garden, because it does have a tree right here, I do have a nice mix of sun and shade areas so that I can have both kinds of plants. So down here in the front we just have a few varieties of Colocasia. This purple one here, and this striped one, and of course the purple Zebrina, and then mixed around here I have just a few impatiens. All right, I have another large pot kind of nestled here within the hostas. So in this planter I have a Mistral Orange Begonia. Probably should have showed you from the other side. It's looking a little bit better over there. But I have two begonias in each corner. These, believe it or not, kind of act as the spiller in this planter, because they really kind of tend to spill out over the edges. I also have another kind of Colocasia here. I also have two bromeliads, so this guy right here, and then there is a tiger bromeliad over here on the corner. I can't remember the name of this one off the top of my head, but I will put the name up on the screen. And then I have this beautiful fern, also forgetting the name of, but I will make sure to put it up there on the screen. And then in the center as the thriller, I have a teacup Colocasia elephant ear. So hopefully within a few weeks it will fill in a little bit better. All right, next I want to talk about these two planters that I have over here against the wall. They're kind of nestled into the hostas, just to give me some more planting space. So these are, I'm going to say mostly shade, although you can see that they are in the sun right now a little bit. So most of the plants in here are heart shade plants that can take a little bit of sun. I guess the only exception maybe are the impatiens. They prefer the most shade. Hopefully I'm not making too much of a shadow here. So we'll start in the back with this guy. This is Heucheras Silver Scrolls. And right up front here we have a Catalina Midnight Blue Tarina. This impatient right here is Super Elfrin Red Starburst. Yeah, Starburst. Right next door, this guy is the Microblaze series of Coleus. It's called Matchsticks. And then right here in the back, this really tall guy, which has some buds. They just haven't completely fully opened. They get these nice long trumpet-like flowers. This is a Gardenmeister fuchsia. And then right in the middle for the showstopper is this Mojito elephant here, or Colocasia, which I've had for several years now, and I'm very happy that I am able to always winter that over inside. So the planter next door has very similar plantings. So you can see the Gardenmeister fuchsia. This So the only difference is the heuchera or coral bells. This one is called caramel, which is interesting because it's not very caramelly. It's more chartreuse, but as the season does change, so does the colors of that particular heuchera. And then I have this black elephant here in the middle. Can't remember the name of it right now. I want to say like diamond head, maybe. I'll have to put that up on the screen. And then down below here we have a super elfin blue pearl impatient, and then of course the Tarina and the repeat of the coleus right over here. And then underneath the tree we have this begonia. I'm not sure if I'm going to say this correctly or not. I'm going to call it a Gryphon. That does not sound right, so I'm going to have to put the name up there on the screen. But this guy is foliage plant here underneath the tree, and then on either side I do have another Tarina. This one is called Kawaii Deep Blue, and then in the front this is a Tradescantia pallida, specifically the pink stripe. So also another Tradescantia back here. This is the Zabrina. And right down here I also have a hosta that's blooming. Funny thing about this guy, I did not plant it here. It just kind of appeared one day in the stones, and it looks nice there, so I am going to keep it. Alright, this is my last section of the garden, which is more pots. So down here I have an oxalis. This is just a spider plant, so this is a house plant, but I bring it out for the summertime. The oxalis is also something I grow all year inside as a house plant. Back here we have and get a little bit closer, a Persian shield or strobilanthus, and then around the base here there is another Tarina. This one is called Kawaii Deep Blue. Hasn't really started blooming yet, but hopefully I'll be able to have a nice update for you in the future where that is blooming. So over here just have another repeat of the impatient, and of course another Persian shield. This is called Moses in the Cradle. This is something that or Moses in the Boat maybe. This is something that I wintered over from last year. This is another member of this Tradescantia family. I'm a huge fan of Tradescantias. And then in the back here, I really need to, this is bothering me, I need to pull this off. There is a papyrus plant or cypress fern. So still a little small, but in a few weeks I'm sure this is going to look very nice over here. Alright guys, I'm going to do one final pan here just so you can see the whole garden, what it looks like. Like I said, I did not go over every single plant. There are a ton of hostas. I also have some more impatiens back here. I also have, like right here and in the back, I have some house plants. And I also didn't go over plants, you know, not all the plants are blooming, so that's going to be a future video. I do have a lambs here, right down here. I can zoom in and take a look at this guy. But I'm waiting for obviously these other plants to bloom and have something to look at and talk about before I show them. So not every plant was highlighted in this video, just mostly the annuals that I have most recently put in the garden. Alright guys, I think that's everything for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you liked seeing my garden. I hope you learned something and maybe found some inspiration in my garden that you can carry into your own backyard. Thank you for joining me. If you like these videos, please click like and subscribe because I will have more videos and more updates coming in the future. Have a great day in your garden.